Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 2 of Minds on Mushrooms. I'm your host, Maggie Kirkwood. Today, I had the pleasure of sitting down with the fabulous Mary Bue. She's a singer, songwriter, yoga teacher, and creator of retreats all over the world that blend music, movement, and magic. And stay tuned to the end of this episode. Mary's going to be giving us a special performance of her new song, The Wait, from her new album, The Wildness of Living and Dying, which releases February 7th. Be sure to head to the Parkway Theater in Minneapolis, Sunday, February 16th, for Mary's new album release party. Now we hope you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to Minds on Mushrooms. I'm your host, Maggie Kirkwood, and I am so thrilled today we get to sit down with the beautiful and talented Mary Bue.
Hi.
How are you, darling?
I'm so good. So well.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we made this happen.
Me too.
And there's so much to talk about.
Yes.
Where do we start? Well, let's start actually. So Mary, you just put out a new album, right?
Yes, it's coming out February 7th.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So just around the corner.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, I just am so happy to have you here because for me, you are a woman who has been leading your life through your soul for as long as I can remember. I think I've known you maybe close to 2 decades now.
Yes.
So you are such a beautiful songwriter and singer, and I can't wait to talk about some of your upcoming tours and whatnot. But also Mary has been very dedicated to yoga and creating community for all sorts of things.
Yes.
So we want to touch base on that too, some of the yoga school and retreats and whatnot. But let's start by talking about your new music and your new album.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and coming over. Welcome to my house.
Well, thank you for allowing me here.
Totally. So I'm putting out my 9th album, February 7th. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's called The Wildness of Living and Dying. I just picked up the vinyl 2 days ago. So
look at how beautiful.
Thank you. So yeah, the album release party is February 16th at the Parkway.
At the
Theater.
Parkway, February 16th.
Yes. And yeah, it's just my first album came out probably around the time I met you, maybe a little before, in year 2000.
Okay.
So it's been a quarter of a century of writing and performing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is your 9th album.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, say the name again.
The Wildness of Living and Dying.
Oh, my wild.
Yeah, I know. It's intense, right?
Do you mind sharing just kind of how, I want to hear more about like the process and how that kind of came together for your when was your 8th released? Like how much time were you putting into putting the 9th out?
Yeah, the 8th one came out in 2020. Okay. Which was like not a good year to put an album out. And previous to that, it was 2017. I did a 4-song EP. Okay. So 2020, that album was called The World Is Your Lover. The world wasn't super a lover at that time, but lovers aren't always, unicorns and rainbows. No. So the earth sometimes the world gives us.
It's a give and take, right?
Yep.
Give and take. Yep. Love, hate.
Oh maybe. My gosh. Yeah. So that came out in 2020. That was an amazing and strange trajectory because City Pages called me Best Songwriter of 2020.
Oh my God.
In their very last issue. Twin Cities of City Pages of the.
Wow, what an honor.
I know. So I was the last Best Songwriter in the City Pages. Cool. Yeah. But I couldn't even play shows because it was the pandemic and couldn't tour or anything.
Yeah.
But over that time, I stuck with the same band and producer, Steve Price. He's in the band The Suburbs, legendary Minneapolis band.
Okay.
And other really heavy hitters in the scene that I'm so honored to make music with. And I started writing these songs around 2021, and they surround a traumatic incident that I experienced right outside of my house, actually. And so a lot of the themes are healing from trauma and what happens when we're in what I call a trauma portal, and like how our boundaries and protections are broken down when we are experiencing trauma and PTSD, and how that can kind of open up to other dangers because our protections are broken down. So the album is it sounds like it is heavy, but it's also, there's a lot of brightness and hope. And
did you make a video with one or a couple of your songs?
Yep, there's the song Right Now, a guitar song. So that's the one official music video right now. But there will be more.
Well, congrats on all of that. And I'm so excited for your release party, and good for you.
So much.
Yes. Well, also, so I want to get to kind of like talking about your background more on the holistic side of things. Let's talk about, you've done a ton with yoga. You're yoga certified.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And then you even have a yoga school where you were teaching others. Did they get certified through that program?
Yep. So in November of last year, myself and one of my master teachers, Tara Cindy Sherman, she's been teaching for 30 years and has taught many yoga teachers. So we branched out and launched our own yoga teacher training school. It's called Yogita, which means Sanskrit there are many meanings with Sanskrit words, and the meaning that we adhered to with Yogita is connected. So and yoga means to yoke and unite. So connecting with people, community, with ourselves, our spirit.
Yes.
Yeah. The oneness.
Oneness.
And so, we are registered through Yoga Alliance, a registered yoga school. Cool. And then she's a master teacher, and we're both at the 500-hour level, but a lot more than that because we've both done many, many more trainings. Wow. So I've been teaching 15 years.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Good for you.
Thank you.
I was curious. So Mary, you do retreats of sorts. Were you recently at a retreat in Mexico, or was that more of a vacation?
I was teaching it.
Oh yeah, that was your retreat.
Yep. It was called a yoga vacation. So it was with Tara, who I just mentioned, and then a shamanic practitioner named Colleen Elwood.
Wow. Okay.
And Coco, she was in the rock band Zuzu's Petals. They were like big in the 90s and toured all over.
Wow.
And actually the lead singer Lori Lindeen just passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe some of your listeners have heard of Zuzu's Petals and Lori, but she's an author. And anyway, Coco, the three of us co-hosted this New Year's yoga vacation in Mexico.
Oh my God. Wow. I just love the idea of taking time, so I'm obviously so passionate about medicine and psilocybin. But we were kind of talking off screen. I think the focus with this podcast has been so much about the medicine because essentially that's, I guess, what I needed in order to kind of wake up or realize that I'm able to tap into myself and look inward and work with my energy and other energies, and this whole other, I don't know, I'm going to call it spiritual side, was all new to me through psychedelics.
Yeah.
And we know there's so many modalities. We don't always have to be high. We don't.
Right.
But whether it's, yoga or meditation and breath work, I just love kind of how you imbue just, like I said, there's just this person that's just so genuine and authentic and walking the walk, as they say. So yeah, I just love hearing that you're able to kind of put your desires and dreams by hosting retreats, like literally around the world. You've also held some in
Bali,
wow.
3 in Bali.
Wow.
And one coming 2026 there. In February, Tara and I are hosting one in India, 2-week pilgrimage in India.
Wow.
But yeah, Italy, Ireland, Malta, and in the United States, New Mexico, go to Taos and Ghost Ranch. And,
oh my gosh, girl.
And out in Orcas Island in Washington.
Yeah. So amazing.
Thank you.
That's so it's a lot of work, right?
It is a lot of work.
And
yeah, I liken it to like if you've ever planned a wedding.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Wow. Oh, I don't.
I mean, maybe with less guests, but like catering, transportation, events, holding people's hands, but then you're with the group for a week.
Okay.
Or, it could be a weekend, it could be a day, but yeah, international, especially it's like getting, 6 to 20 people over to Bali, or, I haven't had that many people, but 12 people to Bali.
Gotcha. Well, that's just so fascinating. Do you have like a dedicated site or something where people?
Yeah, it's all on my main site. Okay. So I have like music, yoga, and retreats.
I love that. When there's so many different facets, it's like, I love that. So
yeah, I've thought about having separate ones. When I had a yoga studio, I had my separate one. And then the yoga school has a separate one. But yeah.
Well, sometimes then it's like you have all these different brands. Anyway, we'll be sure to link how to find you and all those good things in the description. It was funny earlier today. You said I was maybe going to try and find my journal from when I was in my teen years, when you were journaling and having some mushrooms.
Yes.
And I guess I kind of like want to start there because, I'd like to hear your memory with that, and if it was more, I think that there's. With mushrooms, we can talk about healing and we can talk about recreational use, and one way or use that I'm really starting to be more curious about is using psychedelics for like creativity. And I don't want to even like, not even for breakthroughs, but just like, I guess for me, cannabis was kind of the first plant medicine that helped me shift perspective just a little bit. But I want to know what it was like tripping on shrooms as a teen.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, I think that was these early experiences really did open my mind to the wildness, and the depth of nature and of human connection. I would lay under a tree and watch the trees breathing. That's what I remember, like specifically from those experiences. Just laying under the tree and just like watching like the pulsing of the plants. So for me, it's just like being in nature and being like just staring at the grass and like, wow, like life is pulsing and there's energy in everything.
So true.
Yeah. So I remember very specifically the plants like speaking. And then I would draw.
Yeah.
So I have in my basement a whole Tupperware bin of journals, and I kind of want to burn them because there's a lot of I don't know, a lot of stuff in there that I don't want to revisit, but also like I draw, write poetry, like the journals are like a mix of like brain dumping and, complaining and sadness, but also like drawings and poetry and
cute.
Yeah. So I would like in these early 16, 17 years old, I would doodle. And
I love how you spoke to just like feeling that connection with nature, like, but so young.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think I was 40 or something before I really felt that for the first time. But I think that's so fantastic. I would love to take a look at your journals. Yes. Do you still actively journal quite a bit? I suppose as a songwriter, right? Do you get inspiration from journaling?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a book, The Artist's Way. Julia Cameron, probably some people have heard of her. And she talks about the writing morning pages, where you every morning write 3 pages longhand, like not typing, but just like connecting your body with the words, you know, not that you're not when you're typing, but like the physical crafting of script and just like getting it all out in the morning. And then that kind of like clears the mind. You're meditative. I go in and out of that. That's like such a practice, you know,
it is.
But I have like many morning pages, like so many.
Wow. You are such a good writer though. I mean, I even with your social media posts, it's just like, you do so good. I feel like writing is I'm thankful for ChatGPT.
I've only explored that once.
That's what all the writers say though, because you don't need it and it would change. I've learned to ask it, you know, I have to say you sound like a computer, make it more, I say, make it punchy. And then
yep. That's awesome.
No, but I've always, I think because of your vocation and profession, you just have a magical way with words.
Thank you.
Pretty stellar, Mary.
I've been wanting to write a book forever. It's in and out, but
yeah. Okay. I've had that on some sort of burner. Yeah. Just the thought of it.
Yeah.
But things just keep rapidly,
Yes. Yep.
Well, I would also just, trying to keep it on plant medicine and whatnot. Do you have any significant, profound journey, or maybe they're not even psychedelic related? I was just sharing a breath work experience I had, but I'd like the listeners, if you're open and comfortable with sharing of any like specific journey, I would love to hear.
I'm a former raver. I mean, excuse my microphone. I'm a former raver. So raver at heart. Electronic music. I would dance and go to these parties and club. And so in some ways that was a gateway with music and connecting with the sound. So very deeply, maybe on psychedelics, connecting with sound in like dark environment with lights and dancing. So it's like sound and moving the body. And that has always been profound. Don't really do that as much anymore. Right, but recently I've had a few deep experiences on plant medicine over the last 5 years. There's a Peruvian shaman that I worked with a few times with Huachuma, San Pedro.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. And it's not that cycle isn't, it's ongoing. I feel like I'm kind of hanging from the last one. Because I set an intention, but it was almost like a negative intention. It was like, I wanted to look at my self-loathing. I wanted to dismantle my self-loathing.
I see. Okay.
And so the very first experience, it was like a 10-hour journey.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow.
And it was pretty blissful, the first one. And then she came back again like the next year, and I like basically laid on the ground on my stomach for like hours.
Wow.
And it was just like I was in the self-loathing. It was pretty terrible.
Was it like you were having to like feel it and like sit with it? And so it was like 10 hours of just feeling
in it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And then did it end on a good note? Or?
It did. Like, as it faded away and everyone's sitting around the fire. the laughter started coming back, and you watching the fire too, was like coming off of that and watching the fire was profound, as it felt like things were being purified.
Yeah.
Like a self-loathing sacrificial fire, maybe.
Wow,
But yeah, that was a few years ago. So I would really like to study with her again. And then I did I think was it last summer or the summer before, a psilocybin journey with a dear friend of mine. And we got a cabin, and he was sharing some stories from his life, people that he loved and he was worried about. And I could like feel myself in those people. Like I was like in their emotions, like, and I was just like crying for them, like as if it was like my own experience. And my friend was like, Jesus, Mary, like I knew you were an empath, but I had no idea like how. He's like, that you like feel, and that was like remarkable to me, to like have someone reflect that back, that like, hot damn, like I am very feeling, and I like can like sink into other people's emotions. So like I need to like figure out my boundaries with that.
Yeah. So I guess it's a good thing because it brought awareness. Because sometimes we don't even know that we are. Sometimes it takes a friend or the medicine to kind of just, I always say it shows you the truth. But then it's like, how much of that do we want to accept or change or work on, right?
Yeah.
Did you take it as like, okay, I'm aware that I maybe am a little too, and maybe need some more space for myself? Was it like a learning moment for you, or was it more of just like the acknowledgement of like, okay, this is Mary, this is how I am?
Yeah, I mean, it is how I am, and it's something I've been looking at for a long time. Because I have, like, I would say I'm a people pleaser in recovery, codependent people pleaser in recovery, but still like a codependent people pleaser, like not that I am, but that's just like a way that I've been. And it is something that I'm getting better, but yeah, carving out, the more we can like work on codependency is like work on ourselves and like filling our well and like being strong and embodied, so that we aren't putting value in what some other people's opinion. I don't know, but my work is so external too, that like it's so dependent on people's opinions and if they like it. So like, and retreats and teaching, it's like, it all depends on if people like what I do. So there is this like external validation seeking, but it's also like a practicality that I need that to like have work. So it's like,
well, I just love how, you, again, I keep saying it was an acknowledgement of how you are spending your energy, right? And just being more aware of, I think as I get older too, I never even thought about how I was spending my energy ever until recently. And, some days I'm really just trying to take care of myself. And, so is there any sort of, so you said, kind of getting back to the Wachuma or San Pedro. Well, first of all, my experiences have been very, very positive for the most part. But the 2 times I've sat with it, toward the end of the journey, I feel like I am drunk.
Wow.
And I mean, of course I'm not. Yeah. It's this feeling, I get like slap happy. And in fact, the last ceremony I was at, I was laughing so hard and I was worried because when I laugh, sometimes I pee. And that kind of happened. But I could not control. It was like this slap happy, and I felt like others were too. But with your particular journey when you had a long self-loathing kind of experience, and it ended, you said, around the fire and on a happier note. When you kind of came back to reality, were you kind of like, was this a journey that might have left like kind of like an ick feeling, or again, was this kind of something that brought awareness and that you need to kind of take action steps or behaviors to change?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't want to say wasted, but I feel a sadness for my sadness, I've struggled with depression, like as in my 20s, especially, and teenage years. And yeah, I think like it does feel like a little bit of wasted time, like a lot of life where I just felt bad about myself, and have looked at, in therapy and journaling, self-reflection, songwriting, I've tried so many things to like be present and like in the bliss, and also, but I like am a sensitive person, and like extremely sensitive. So I take things on, and then I don't really know how to. Yeah, it's like I want to help myself, help everyone else, and then like thinking, I just like ruminate on mistakes I've made, and there's really? Like the self-forgiveness piece has been hard for me. But I just like, just feeling like that gave me a deeper awareness of how much time I've spent like feeling that way, and I don't need to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you don't.
It's because like that doesn't help anybody.
No. I mean, obviously these are things I have been working very hard on myself. Just one thing with ruminating about past decisions, my new, I guess, motto for that, there's no time to even, that's what's done is done. If anything, I'm trying to find the silver lining, if one. But I don't allow myself to do that. I think that's the one thing I've been better at in this past year, because I would sit and ponder and just everything. But I'm thankful. I do think that a microdosing practice can help make a shift like that.
Yeah.
But it takes, we can talk about microdosing another time, but of course it's a practice. And if ideally a 6 to 9, a 90-day microdosing program is wonderful. But that was one of my intentions, was a lot of just the negative chatter in my head and how I don't have time for it. And, but it was such a shift for me. Learning that I didn't understand that I was speaking so terribly to myself for basically my whole life. So you can't just expect to kind of just shut that off.
Right.
But I felt like, with microdosing, it wasn't a macro, but I had kind of set this intention, like each day I am going to try to stop some of that. And instead of like getting ready in the mirror, I would take time out just to have some positive affirmations and just say some nice things for the negative chatter that can't completely be silenced, but you can be louder in positive ways. And I would say kind of just slowly, I had a lot of self-confidence issues and just still totally working. But I think awareness is key. And that's what I'm thankful for, especially with plant medicine, because it really does. It brings up the truth, or what kind of needs to be seen. And is it solved there? No, that's just the beginning. And then it's kind of doing the work and the journaling and the meditation and the breath work and the all the things. Well, okay, so you are going on tour with Cloud
Cult. Yep.
Wow. Yeah. That's just coming up, right?
Yep. I leave on Monday, so depending on when this airs, but yeah.
Oh my God. And what cities are you going to?
Nashville, Atlanta, and Durham.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is your second time touring with them?
Yeah. I just did a few dates in the fall in Seattle and Portland.
Wow.
Yes.
And Mary, do you have any retreats, vacations? I know you mentioned some, but what are you excited about? Like obviously you're touring with
Yes.
but yeah, anything coming up retreat wise?
Yeah.
And show after you've so many things.
So many things. India in February. So might be a little last minute for friends to join, but we will still invite you. There's room. And then in July, I'm partnering with Sarah Brocky, who's a fine artist and the head of the art department at St. Scholastica in Duluth. And so we partner on retreats, and we're doing one in Ghost Ranch, which is where Georgia O'Keeffe painted a lot of her work at the Southwest. Yeah. So in Abiquiu, New Mexico, and that's in July. And then I'll be doing one on Orcas Island in Washington in October. I haven't announced that yet. Then 2026, Bali again in March.
Geez, girl, you have your things mapped out.
Yeah,
That's
it's
impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, it's kind of the big ones. You have to really give people time to think about.
And but I suppose it's like we were saying, it's so much work. But do you look at it like obviously such an experience and fun and growth for you?
Totally.
That's so great. You have something to look forward to, like all these little pockets throughout the year. Kind of getting back to the medicine.
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any, have you sat with ayahuasca, or do you have
I haven't yet.
Any medicine that you're kind of on your radar or feeling any callings to sit with?
Yeah, I've been wanting to do ayahuasca, sit with ayahuasca since probably since I was like 17 or 18. I heard Tori Amos talk about it. That she had a shaman in the Amazon, and so this was in like the late 90s. Yeah. So it's always been on my radar. And then the Peruvian shaman I'd like to go to her healing center in Peru. Okay. And do a whole thing with her. Yeah. I know I'm the same. I really want to work up to it. I feel
I kind of look at ayahuasca. I don't know. I want to follow the whole dieta, the whole, and I want to feel called too. And I don't know if I have, but when the time comes, Peru is where I would want to be. No, I was just curious. I think, for me, psilocybin has always been around. But I really, back to the ayahuasca or San Pedro, that's the grandfather vine, right? And ayahuasca's the grandmother. So both very, very powerful medicines. But I just think, the whole experience of kind of going to where the vine and the medicine comes from and having the shaman. And it sounds like a lot of work and a big, big thing. Yeah. But I've been watching myself just more open to it. Nice. And I think I would want to, be really, 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 really ready.
Yeah. I wonder, can we be ready, but I feel like there's
we can't
purifying to do beforehand, and, a lot that I would ideally do, there's, the recreational drive. I mean, with that medicine, people are going for deeper healing, obviously. But then there's some people that go so often, and it's just like, okay, that's, I even with, not so much microdosing, but psilocybin, like I really feel like I want to be in a place like setting, I want to probably be in nature and people I really trust, and, it's,
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's,
it's something to think about, because as we think, hopefully, especially being here in Minnesota, we are looking into decriminalization, at least legislation wise, but nowhere close to that. But when you start thinking about some of the containers and how it would work at a medical, legal way. So some of the ways that I see it happening, you know, you're going into like almost this clinical type setting, and there's like the blindfold and a bed. And I think that's all great and wonderful. But for me, the journey is only full circle if I can have that nature aspect.
Yeah.
And I think like so much more anxiety might be in this room setting.
Yeah.
Without, you know, being able to like pop outside and I'm
stare
just
at the grass, stare at the trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know where you are dependent because we're in the tundra here,
yeah,
but
very cold.
yeah, it's just, I'm so happy to hear, you know, in your teen years with psilocybin and whatnot, again, just like finding that feeling and that connection, which is like such the lovely experience versus, oh, it was terrifying. And,
right.
Yeah. So
yeah, there have been some terrifying moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. But I think it feels safe to be outdoors.
Yes.
Safer.
Yeah.
You're held.
And also, but if people have been city dwellers,
right,
you know, in the nature might be, you
True.
know, it's just like, what makes us feel comfortable? You know, it's interesting to think about.
Like, I love to take some mushrooms and jump in bed.
Yeah.
And I'm not going outside one bit, but I think my point is,
in the clinical,
it's a full kind of circle experience to be able to be indoors and out and see, like, compare and contrast
absolutely
just the different elements. So. But I just love talking about, about all the experiences. And I think it really is good for people to just hear, because I'm all about just normalizing conversation around all the things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, I practice mantra a lot.
I would love to hear.
Yeah, so mantra, like in Sanskrit, manas means mind. And then tra is technique, tool, protection. And there are like many other ways to describe it or translate it. But so thinking of mantras as protective tools for the mind and how our mind, this relates to mushrooms eventually, but how the mind can get stuck in these patterns of thinking and just like digging. I think of like New Mexico in the spring when the snow is melting in the mountains and the red clay. You're driving in the red clay and it's like peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
And it's like deep clay and your car gets stuck and like and then it dries and it's like big ruts. And like if we're thinking, we're digging and thinking the same things, we're digging deep ruts in our mind, and the mind is just like, there's the negative bias. I don't know exactly the psychological term, but how like primally we're biased to negativity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like because we're looking for safety as like an animal, you know. So we're like trying to protect ourselves and, you know, being suspicious of sounds and, you know, so there's like a primal negativity bias in a way. And so mantra can help bring us out of the ruts and like retrain the mind to like grab onto a positive intention, like ancient sound technology. And then I think of like the mushrooms, like the mycelial filaments and like they're like weaving through
network.
Connect.
Yes.
And like, so that helps to, you know, and like, like with the electricity, the synapses, neurons firing, and like the sparking, how like some mushrooms, spores with lightning striking, like there's like, I forget what exactly
the spores can travel like 5,000. So when you say this mantra or a mantra, do you think, is it on like repeat? And is that a meditative, like, are you focused on the words? Are you following each word with your mind? Or is it more or less like this short, like, thing to be on repeat to
am I
yeah,
great question. Yeah. So there's a technique called japa mantra. And so you have like the mala beads. So people are wearing, I have down there if you want to grab it. And so it's like, you say the mantra like 108 times. You have 108 beads. Okay. And so you say it and like feel the intention of what you're, and so the 108 is, there are said to be 54 letters in the Sanskrit alphabet. Have 54 of the feminine side and 54 of the masculine side. So that is 108. And then there are all these other equations of like the distance from the sun and the moon and the earth and stuff like that. But yeah, so 108 is an auspicious number. And that's like many times to like, like dig a new groove in a way. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I am a huge Tina Turner.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Her mantras. Oh.
I think she was, or at one point it was Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I am just fascinated by her story because that's literally what she turned to and all she had. And yeah, good movie.
Which movie?
Well, it's
I haven't seen it.
I'm not going to be able to think of it. It's probably 15 years old, maybe longer. 20.
Look for it.
What's Love got to do with it? Maybe no. Wait, that's Whitney. No,
that's her.
But it's her story with Ike.
Yeah, is that and she does mantra in that?
Yeah. So she becomes Hindu.
Yeah,
and that is how she gained courage to just keep pushing and keep going and writing and singing and become stronger than her abuser. Yeah, it's real special.
I've seen that movie, but I don't remember that part. I saw it in high school.
Some years old. Yeah. Wow. I know. Well, we got something to watch.
Yeah, I love that.
But what was the name of your mantra practice? Was it a J?
Japa, Japa.
Okay, Japa.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. So a lot of people wear these for jewelry, but if it's for your spiritual practice,
I had no idea about
skin.
the 108. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like people have rosaries and do the prayers around the rosary. So yeah, it's a tool because you feel it physically in your hand, and then you're chanting it, so you're feeling it in your body as you chant, but then like the tangible quality of it too is like kind of gets all the more senses involved.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. I'm with all the things, but this the chanting. I mean, it's specifically because of Tina, because it's so powerful, and I had seen it way back when too. But again, it wasn't until recent years I was at my gym and was reminded about how her whole complete 180 because she was able to find that practice and survive from it. And I think that is what it's half the passion for me. It's finding these things that can help us, big and small.
Yes. Yes. There are many ways.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you so much. And I feel like I would love to show the listeners. I want to get you on the piano.
Perfect.
Yeah. We'll throw some of that in, and then let's just remind everybody one more time. Your album release party, can I see your album again, please? Is February 16th at the Parkway Theater. And get tickets online?
Yes, tickets are on sale. And the album comes out February 7th. And it's streaming on all the things. Got a few singles already out there.
Wow.
And then all the other albums are there too.
I'm so excited for you. That's so awesome, Mary. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will be in touch because you've got so much going on. So I'm seeing you all over the place. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank you. Don't tell me that the wait'll be easy. So many things we don't want to know. Don't tell me that the wait'll be easy.
Thank you for joining the journey. You can tune in to Minds on Mushrooms on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.